I'm so excited. Guys, welcome back to another video. Thank you for stopping by and taking your time. Beautiful to see you back again on this channel. Very excited today. And I wanted to make an additional video to the previous video that you can see over here. I was talking about parallel compression and I talked about the mix knob. And I talked about, this is important, what I would like to discuss in this video. We have two different types of mix knobs. We have one mix knob that is looking like these. Do you see? Dry, and we dial in the unprocessed, the not compressed signal, because this is a compressor. So we will see somewhere like this dB, and it's called kind of the dry mix knob. And we have another knob that is called the mix knob, the original mix knob, where we do have the percentage. So 100% means that the signal will be compressed if the threshold is high enough, etc. And if we have like 0%, we don't process anything. So the signal is like it was sent to the tool, okay, to the plugin. So completely dry without any processing. We will not compress today because I would like to show you something else that I have not mentioned in the last video because it was super technical. It is still technical, and I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to like how those tools are built inside, so the electroacoustical path. Important is to know that definitely plugins and the original gear, like the output gear, if you do have something, they color the sound due to the components they have built inside, like transistors, the filters, the like tubes, triads, etc., etc. So there are many different components that we can find in these tools that will color the sound, saturate the sound, and important is that is actually why I wanted to make this video when it comes to phase, because the phase of the signal will be a little bit different when you send it to the plugin and you hear the output. The phase will be changed of the signal, so the waveform will not be the same as you actually had before using the plugin. And I try to make it easy and understandable and clear because it's still, as I said, it's a very technical topic, and there are definitely, I believe, channels out there who or which can explain the topic better and like more from this technical side. But today is really about why those knobs are different. Because one knob is doing the phase, and this is the dry knob where we dial in the dB, and the other knob, the mix knob, is not changing the phase. So we really hear the same signal, even if it's processed, still with the same phase. And how can we find out if the plugin is actually changing the phase? And it's actually pretty simple. So my idea was, I take, as you see here, melody 1, melody 2. Let's do it like melody 1, so everybody can see this, and melody 2. Okay, so melody 1 does have this compressor. This is the left one, and the compressor is on, and the mix is at 100%. Threshold, now it doesn't matter. We are just running the signal through this tool, and we want to have an output. So we know that this compressor is actually doing something, inside with the signal, or not. But as it's 100%, we know that the compressor is working 100%. Processing, okay? So this is the melody 1. Melody 2 is the same compressor, but the mix is at 0%, meaning that the processing inside this compressor doesn't apply to the signal, doesn't work. We will still hear the signal, but the compressor is actually not compressing. Even if the threshold is at 0, so nothing is compressed, it doesn't matter. I just want to know if this compressor does something to the sound in terms of phase issues. And how we can actually find it out is pretty simple. After the compressor, we have this tool on the second melody. It's called the mix tool in Studio One, but important is we invert the left and the right side, meaning we invert the phase of the signal. So the waveform that was positive becomes negative and vice versa. And now when I will play back those two identical waveforms, these two melodies, okay? And if I switch off this mix tool and play the signal back, what should happen is we will hear the signal. Why? Because the phase is not inverted, first of all. Second, both compressors are working. Although one is kind of compressing, the other is not, but we will hear the signal how it actually should be, okay? So let's have a test. Yeah, and as you hear and see on the sum channel, because they're going to the sum, they are hearable, okay? And now what we do, we invert the phase of the second channel. And when we play back, nothing is there, nothing is playing. Okay, what does it mean? It means that the compressor, the second one, is not doing anything to the phase. So this mix knob doesn't have any issues with delaying the signal. This is how I would describe it at this point. And what we do now is we switch off both compressors, click them away, we switch off the mix tool again, switch on those two compressors that both have the dry knob or dry mix knob. The first one on the first melody is 100%, so 0 dB. It means that the original signal is dialed into the output to the compressed signal, okay? Even though the compressor will not compress, but we will hear the kind of the compression and the dry, the maximum dry amount of the original signal. And on the second channel, we do have the same compressor, obviously, the dry mix at infinity, minus infinity, so we don't hear any original signal, only the compressed. Important is that I haven't mentioned it with the first compressor. The output should be, you have to set it to the amount where when you turn the phase, so when you switch the phase, you have to find a spot where the output is not almost hearable. It will not be 100% like erased, so inverted in terms of the waveform. However, you can still find a spot where it comes close to completely canceling the waveform out, and it was with this compressor at 5 dB. So now when we play back, we will obviously hear something on the output because the phase is not inverted. And it's pretty loud. Okay. And now, when I switch back again or flip the phase, we should hear actually nothing. However, look over here. So it's kind of when we open, let's open like an analyzer. So it's kind of minus 55, okay? And the funny thing is I open it back, and now I try what I said, try to cancel out the second channel. And as you see, if I go higher, it becomes louder. If I go lower, it becomes louder as well, meaning that the spot at 5 dB was the maximum I can go to cancel the second waveform out against the first one. So what I want to say with this, it is definitely important to know that if you have this dry mix knob, so where you dial in the original signal, okay, to the parallel path, not the compressed, but the uncompressed signal, with this knob, you have an internal delay of or in the plugin, meaning that you will have issues with the phase. You will not hear phasing because phasing, you will hear it at 5-7 milliseconds when you use original phasing plugin or phaser. But this tool, like this VC160 or the Kotelnikov one I showed you in the first video, they will somehow color the sound, change the phase when you start to dial in this dry amount, right? This unparalleled signal or the transients that you actually want to get back. However, on this original Studio One compressor, so the stock one, when you have this mix knob, it doesn't happen because inside they are built somehow. I don't know what happens really inside, but they don't have, or this knob doesn't have any delay built in this knob. So what you will hear from the processing point of view, meaning that you don't have any phase issues. So you will not color the sound. And this is the additional video that I wanted to make because it's still, I think, important. Why? Because phasing is definitely an issue when it comes to lower frequencies. So you will definitely lose lower frequencies, low end, when you have phase issues. Like a good example would be miking a kick drum or snare drum. The top snare mic, you have to check the phase with the second mic, the bottom mic. Why? Because sometimes if the microphone is set to a spot and you don't move it around to find the sweet spot, and you flip the phase and you hear that the snare or the kick drum doesn't matter, becomes like weak in terms of the sound, like the low end vanishes somehow or just feels like it's going away. It means that the phase of the second microphone is not right to the first one. And this is kind of the same thing that happens over here with the compressor. So the second path should be, in the best way, should be in phase with the original one. So a lot of times when you start to, as you saw, a lot of times you have to, on the parallel channel, you should cut out the low end in order not to have this issues, phase issues in the low end. And this is where the next video will be about. When we start to, or where we'll talk about the advanced setup, how you can do this parallel processing in the advanced way. Okay, so this is it for today. I hope it helps to understand the background, that those two knobs are not the same. They do kind of the same stuff, but internally they're built a little bit different. So we have phase issues and we don't have phase issues, because the again, the plugins inside the DAW, they are compensated in terms of latency. This is not the issue. The issue is really that is internal in the in the tool itself. Okay, so if you like this video, if it helped you somehow, give me a like, leave a comment if you have any questions. Still any questions, you can support this channel by buying me a coffee, and I will see you in the next video, guys, where we will talk about advanced parallel processing. Thank you very much for watching. Have a beautiful week. Bye.
Swag on overload, boy. Swag on overload, boy. Swag on overload, boy. Swag on overload, boy.